Good day. My name is Ugochukwu Ukwebu. I am a session lead with the ALX Udacity Cloud Developer Nanodegree program. And this video is a fourth part of a video walkthrough series for Project 4, Develop and Deploy Serverless App. In the first app of this video walkthrough series, I set up the project and deployed to AWS. In the second part, I configured an Auth0 application for the app and implemented authentication. In the third part, we implemented the CreateTodo function and tested authentication. In this fourth part, we're going to implement the GetTodos function. We're going to test it, and we're going to activate authentication for our functions. So let's get right into it. All right. So if you recall, after implementing our CreateTodo function, I saved and pushed to GitHub, and I've gone to my main branch, and I pushed to GitHub and merged to my main branch. And in my local environment, I've updated my main branch by pulling from what we have in the code repo. So to implement the GetTodo features, we're going to check out to a new feature branch where we can work on it. All right. So we begin from, okay, let's start from our serverless code. Uh, let's uncomment the GetTodos function. Right. Okay, maybe let's also comment the authorization function since we've already implemented that. All right. So let's go to the function that handles the GetTodos. Okay, so I'm going to convert that to a TypeScript file. I'm sure we recall why we made it a text file initially, so it doesn't compile while we're testing the implemented part of the app. Okay, so where we write our code, so let's get right to it. Um, okay, before that, we get our user ID. Let me begin that from the next line here. All right, then our to-dos. Okay, that should be good. Let's close that. So let's go and implement that. We have that already. Yep, we have get his ID. Okay, we don't yet have that in our to-dos. Right. So let's go write that. All right. So this is the stub. This is a get to do function. And if you recall, it follows the same recommended approach from project rubrics. Get to backend, I think towards the end of um, this page, we see which that we are advised to fetch data from DynamoDB table following this structure. So I pretty much did the same thing here. We first call the okay. I'm using the doc client here. Okay, just a slight variation from what we have there, but this works. All right, so with GetTodos function and all the associated methods set up, okay, let's complete this function in a serverless or YAML file. So I'm going to be borrowing code from something I know that I've deployed that has worked. So this can go. Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity. If we recall when we uh, tested our CreateTodos, and we here in this spot in our attachment URL, we have this undefined function here. So something was not, I noticed that something was off there. So I'll just quickly okay, I'll just quickly update that. I think that's kind of traced the error to, if we notice here, IS3 bucket name here, we're getting the variable from the environments attachments S3 buckets, and this is where we put together the attachment URL and bucket name. So the problem here is that where we defined the attachment S3 buckets variable, here we named it attachment S3 singular, but in this our attachment utils buckets class, we retrieve the value from the environment as in plural. So let's correct that and jump right back to task. And at this point, I think we're ready to uh, test our GetTodos function. So let's call serverless. Let's run the serverless deploy verbose command. Okay, now that something just came to mind. All right, in our we'll update that. In our CreateTodo handler, we've not yet activated the authorization function. We'll do that for the next run of serverless updates. While that is running, let's while that's running, let me try to get a little bit ahead and open our cloud console. Okay, I like to do that in incognito. Let's get back to code base. Okay, this is going fine. All right, so we've successfully deployed to AWS. So let's check that new function we just created. Get all to dos. So off to Postman, and then let's send our request. All right, so that was successful. Our get to do function is working. And if we recall the two posts we made initially in our in part 3, these are the of the post we made. Okay. Okay, the undefined, I think we've tried to correct that in this new updates. So let's try and create a new to do and test that. Water flowers changed to 3:10 a.m. And let's change the date to, let's update that to 2022. All right, let's send that. All right, good. So we have our correct bucket name here, and that's looking good. So let's even try and log into our React app, our React front end. We have that. Specific. Okay, we have a React app here. Uh, let's log out. Okay, and try to log in again. Okay, so our GetTodos are working now. So let's close this. All right. So our GetTodos are working. Let's try and create a new task from our front end here. Let's see to test GetTodos. Let's get that done. All right, so we have that there. Uh, we have that there. So let's try something here. Let's try and create an empty task. And you see an empty task was created, right? So I think one of our project rubrics is that we have to ensure that we prevent creation of empty tasks. So we're going to do that next. So we fall back to our code base. So basically that last step worked fine. We've implemented the GetTodos and it's working. So we're still going to go back to update our CreateTodos handler to back here. So basically it's about the approach we're going to take to implement that is going to be we're going to use a request validator form. So back to our CreateTodo, we saw that authorization worked here. The authorization function worked here in the GetTodos. So let's activate that too for CreateTodo. Okay, for request validation, these three lines here is an approach to use for request validation, but I'm more comfortable with the approach defined by Ivan Muskerik in the exercises in the course. I think you're going to see that approach, his approach in this course, request validation. That's serverless framework lesson 11. So if we get back to our code base, I think we're going to need two plugins for that. So let me get the plugins. I think I have them somewhere. I think I have them here. Okay, no, not in this notepad. All right, so okay, no. Okay, that's it there. Pretty much install the serverless AWS documentation and serverless-reqvalidator plugins. So copy that. Back to our code base. Run npm install for those. All right, so that's done. So have to put in those plugins there for those. Let's borrow from this pre-written code base. So I get those two plugins. Okay. Then I introduced a custom section. So nothing new here. Basically, just follow the section in the class where this was taught. So I take that. All right, so let's review our models. We have the models that's will be enforced here. Pretty much came with the starter code. So that's what we have here. And to try to force to ensure, you see here, it allows us to kind of, okay, we have that, okay, and the update to do's model to try to enforce that let's use a mean length of let's use 2, max length 20 will be too long, will be too short, so let's try it, max length of 20. So that's going to ensure that the minimum length of a task will be 2 words, two strings long, and then max length of 200 for our to-do tasks. So that done, we'll save that, and back to our serverless YAML file. Okay, I think there's one more section we need to make updates on. So this is something to note here, the CreateTodo request name. We're going to need that. Okay, so I'm going to borrow this section of the code from here. We won't need this any longer. All right, one more section. Yeah, the request body validator resource. So we can save that. And let's update our changes. Another thing we need to do. Okay, let's deploy. So, all right, so that deployment was successful. So let's go test our function. So back to our React app. Let's see if we can create an empty task. All right, to do creation failed, right? Let's see if we can create a task with one syllable, one string. Okay, that still fails. So let's see. Implementing, okay, let's say implement request validation. All right, new task. All right. So let's see. We see that has we see our request validation is working. So right now we can't um create an empty task like we were able to do previously. So in this walkthrough series, we've been able to implement the GetTodo function. We've updated our CreateTodo function such that uh, we're not allowed to create an empty task by enforcing request validation. First, we installed the necessary plugins, and then we activated them, and then we tested, and we see that validation is working. So that's this looks like a good point to bring this walkthrough to an end, and then in the next part, we try to go on and implement the. Right now, if you look at what we have, we can't yet update any task. Let's see, can we update a task here? If we try, it's not going to work. Let's try. Nothing here. Let's see. Documents. Okay, I think I have something here. Okay, let's try and upload something here. Upload. All right, could not upload file, network error. We've not implemented that, so we're going to get back to it. So that's what we're going to do in the next task. We're going to configure or implement the update to do handler, and also implement the delete to do handler, and then the generate upload URL, and then we'll test. Hopefully we're going to complete this walkthrough series in the next part. So here, let's save our code. So of course, the remaining part, I'm going to go to GitHub, merge to my main branch, and then update. So I'll do that behind the scenes. I know you all already know how to do that. So when we get to the next part of our video, we just implement our remaining handlers and possibly complete the project walkthroughs there. So thank you very much. Once again, my name is Ugochukwu Ukwebu. I'm a session lead with the ALX Udacity Cloud Developer Program. I hope you're enjoying the walkthrough series. I hope it's going to act as a guide to you to completing your project 4, develop and deploy serverless app.